Hello and welcome to the Culture Cave. I am Anthony and I am here with Emmett. How are you, Emmett?
I've been stabbed by science. I've got my first vaccination. Just to date this. I had a bit of a rough time, but I'm making it through today. Much like Sohei, I got injected with stuff, and
Yeah.
it was a little rough. Had a bit of a bad time, but it was all for the greater good.
Yeah. Well, I've had my first one as well, and I didn't. I had a sore arm for like a day, so I was lucky. I was lucky. So
Cool.
I understand my privilege there. I've got vaccine privilege.
I'm very
Pfizer
jealous.
vaccine privilege. I've got.
Yeah. Just FYI to anyone that's going, you should always get vaccinated. If you get AstraZeneca, you're gonna feel rough for a couple of days there. It's you might have some rocky days there for a second, but it's all good.
You got another couple of months to recover for the next one, and then that's you,
Exactly.
and that'll be you.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay,
I
Emmett.
can go
Right.
outside again.
Yeah, exactly. I got. Oh, jeez. I've been inside
I've
for.
been locked in. I've been locked in this room since COVID started. I haven't left.
Yeah, you actually wrote all those
It's
books
crazy.
behind you in that time.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
we're getting close. Okay, so Sisyphus this week. There's a few things we want to talk about. We're going to do a short episode this week. We say that. We'll see how we get on. We sometimes just ramble away. So there's three things in particular that I want to talk about. The first thing, well, actually, before we do that, Emmett has been watching Dark, and we're not going to give away any details because we have recorded with Konrad the first of the season reactions for season one. He is now halfway through season two, and Emmett said something very, very interesting to me just before we started recording, and we're not going to give his way of his. We'll do that in the Dark episode, but he said Dark zigs when you expect it to zag, whereas
Yeah.
Sisyphus zigs when you expect it to zig.
Yeah, or it's just like it throws out like a random explosion when you expect it to zig, where it's just like that's not what I expected, and I also don't think that's what you should have done there. Whereas like with dark, it's like you're like, oh, I had all these theories and I was sort of right, but for the wrong reasons, and you've really like taken the everything you've said makes sense when I think about it, but you really took me off guard. And then Sisyphus is just sometimes where it's just like, yes, this is a very interesting plot point, and now there's an explosion and we're running.
Yeah,
With no time to dwell on the plot point. There's an explosion.
Yeah, we've got a lovely funfair scene, and I'm back. He's back to her childhood, but all of a sudden the control bureau is there, and she's a hostage now. So it very much is just like bang, 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 bang. So that's where I'll start off in here anyway. Great to hear your little hints of Dark there. We'll get more Dark on the After Dark podcast next week. First thing I want to talk about today, three things I want to talk about in total, is the funfair scene, getting a little bit sort of Hunte Sul treating HAE for her birthday, and we got some really interesting scenes where HAE meets her mother, and we also got the scene where Hunte Sul meets young HAE as well.
It's a very interesting little moment because it's like he has this like he's very affectionate towards the young Sohei, but it's also
Yeah.
like it's a little unintentionally creepy. I don't know if you got that too, where like though he does do one of his more reasonable, clever things because he's gone to go get Sohei ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't know what to get her. But then the young Sohei joins the line, so he lets the young Sohei go ahead of him so he can hear what she orders and be like, "I'll also have that." It's like, yeah, that's a good move. That's a smart move.
Yeah, that's
But
like
yeah, no,
that's the ultimate cheat sheet.
yeah, it's always weird in like a time travel romance. Again, not to talk about Dark as well, where they're in a situation where they meet their romantic interest as a child. It's always very weird because it's like they're like, this is the younger version of the person that I love, but like they're looking at him in a weird way, and it's
Yeah.
like it's always a bit like it's a bit squeaky. I don't know if you get that too. It's just
Yeah, I don't know how it would be in person. I'm sure, like, to me, like,
yeah,
I can only think about it, and maybe you're the same. You're in the same boat with your partner.
yeah,
When I see Ema's home movies and see her as a little child, like, I feel like a warmth to the child, even though I've never known them. So maybe that would translate to a bit of a weirdness in real life if you were actually with the child, because it's like it's the same
yeah.
person but it's not. But for me, like, I get a real warmth when I watch Ema as a child in like home movies, so maybe that's what he was feeling. But it's
Yeah.
also, I know what you mean, when they're in person and you have
Yeah.
all that relationship in the two characters, your brain can't help but go to weird places, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit strange because again, I suppose there is a certain degree of separation like you talk about when you see old movies or you see like photographs and
Mm.
stuff like that, where yeah, there is this sort of like immediate reaction. It's also very funny that like he's essentially on a date with this girl, but like her future version like over there,
Yeah,
so he's technically on a date with her, and there she is as a child as well.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
time travel makes for some odd romantic situations and
She's
all
third
that.
wheeling herself.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's
Yeah,
it's impressive when you're able to do that now.
and then Sigma shows up, and he gives basically like the Dark Knight choice. Rachel. Rachel or Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
It's basically saying you can come get me, or you can save Hay. Obviously, they didn't do the old switcheroo with the barrels, but
Hunter Sewell picks a third option though, which is fail at both.
yeah.
Where it's like he tries to save Hay, doesn't work, and also Sigma gets away. So it's like you really should have like committed to one of those a bit better there, Hunter.
Yeah. Okay, so what did you think of the flashback scene where they were getting to the bunker, Hay and her family? Personally, for me, as someone who has children, I was absolutely heartbroken, and I get a unnatural feeling of dread within myself to the point where it's a physical feeling when things like that, when the idea of having to, like, I just put myself in that position, and if it was our kids and Ema and stuff, and if Ema had to close the door, if she was going to close the door, I really don't know if I could have done what that dad did and just realize this child has more chance of survival if I am the one taking care of it. I just don't know. I just really don't know if I would be able to do what that dad did and step back. I also don't know if I'd be able to go out of the door and close the door. It's one of those weird things. Maybe I'd freeze in the pressure,
What do you think is worse, to be on the other side of the door and like have those last few moments where that you've maybe saved their life, but that you're going to die, but maybe they've made it, or like to be on the other side of the door to know that like your partner is going to die, but you have to like pick it. I don't know which would be.
It's really hard, isn't it? It's really hard, and as soon as she closed the door, I was like, she just stood there and accepted it, which is fair enough because the weight of the decision that she's just made, it makes sense that she would be standing there and just accepting her fate. If it was me, if I was the person who closed the door, I would immediately like, right, I'm running in, jumping in the water. Maybe the shockwave won't get me under here, I'd be thinking all that sort of crap,
Yeah, I've made this joke because I've obviously spoken like in everyone's life. You speak about like the concept of death, and I spoke with somebody close to me talking about the passing of someone else, and they talked about how they went very peacefully, and it was a very nice moment. And I went, "That's really great for them." I get the feeling that no matter what age I am, I don't think I'm going to very gracefully go.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of fighting and screaming on my part. I don't think I'm going to go quietly.
I'm going to be grasping onto life as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's like, don't let it go.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the composure to be like, I will make the sacrifice. I will close the door. Or if I do that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Like I can, I'm a millennial. I can barely handle regular life without having a panic attack. I don't know if I can handle my immediate death without at least hyperventilating a little bit.
Yeah. Also, not shitting on millennials. There, we're shitting on the older generations who made the world the way it is. Okay, so
I'm shitting on a millennial in the sense of I'm shitting on myself. And
I know, but yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, so two more things I wanted to touch on. We can do one of them quickly, but I don't mind. We'll see what you think. First thing, Hay is caught and is getting tortured, but then the cop guy, who I can't remember his name, Seung or something like that, he breaks in the torture. He wanted some of the torturing because obviously remember he thinks that Hay killed his granny, so he breaks in to it. We can see the seed of doubt has been planted in him, can't we? Because Hay straight away says, "I didn't kill her," Yeah,
and then he seems to hesitate for a moment, but he ends up, they set up the Chekhov's gun, Ironically, the gun is not very useful in this scene.
Because it got
But
wet.
they set up it's the Chekhov's gun of like the injections, where it's like 3 of these will be enough to kill her. So he specifically injects her with the third because he could try and just shoot her, but apparently this is a much more painful way to go, and it's guaranteed as well. So like he did it that way, and then you can sort of see that like maybe he's starting to like doubt some of the information, especially because part of the reason that he had to break in was because he wasn't allowed in by like the higher ups, so he keeps being denied by them, and like he keeps having this friction between him and his like pseudo father figure and the leader of the organization. So like I think that's where a lot of the the friction's coming, and the doubt is going to start seeping in from there the more he learns. We also, like, again, like you mentioned, like he goes to, once the sprinklers turn on and it becomes clear that someone's attempting a breakout, he attempts to shoot Hay in the head, but the water gets in the gun and like clogs it up or stops
can't ignite it.
Yeah, it can't ignite it. I'm wondering if this is because, remember, we've had all those scenes where it seems like someone's shot somebody in the head, like Hante Sul in the head, and then he like wakes up somewhere. I'm wondering if this is another, like, if this is hinting towards the Sisyphus element of Sohei can't die yet. So like when he tries to pull the trigger on her, like
something happened to stop it.
The statistical improbability of like the sprinkler being enough to keep the gun from igniting suddenly like went really high up to avoid him being able to shoot her and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that's something that they're hinting at in that moment, or if it was just Sisyphus being Sisyphus.
Just
again.
a way to get out of it. Just a way to get out of it. No, it's really cool. It's really cool. As you mentioned there as well at the end, I loved how they sort of brought in the ending theme, which is I always found it quite anime. The ending theme, I love it. But whenever they start playing it, where like with Hante Sul with the hood up, walking through, the lights off and all, it was real sort of, he's coming to save the day. Like it was so cool.
Hante Sul just like walking in there, setting off like fire alarms with his like. To be fair, this has been one of the more realistic in this show. I mean, like depictions of him pulling off some sort of like technological heist. Like this was it was one of their bigger pieces, but also one of their more realistic in the sense that he had to send in his friend first. To like hack in and then
put the memory pen in. Like that was as you say, that's really realistic. It took a long time to do
by
it too.
Sisyphus standards,
as
well.
By Sisyphus standards,
and then like the fact that like you can believe that he took time to like set up all this stuff, and it's not him just making an app in 3 seconds and like loading it. So like it was definitely one of his like more realistic but cooler moments. So it wasn't another one of his on the like Coke rocket bottles that'll knock out the trained SWAT team and stuff like that,
Okay, well, we've left this episode with Hante Sul, or Hante Cool, we should call him, going down to rescue Hay, and she's saying he's coming. So she seems to be really getting endeared to him now. She's loving the fact that he's coming to save her. I'm really looking forward to seeing the next episode now. Emmett, final thoughts?
I want to see what Mr. Park does next. We had a little bit of him in this episode, but I feel like it's setting up for him to do something crazy in this breakout situation. So I'm not like that's a little thing I'm super excited for.
Okay, awesome. I agree with you. Right, guys, if you want to leave a comment, put it underneath, like the video, subscribe, all that great stuff. We'll be back next week with more Sisyphus, and we'll be back on Monday for the After Dark podcast, in which Emmett joins Konrad and I, and he's going through Dark one season at a time. So join us for that. All right, guys. Apart from that, we'll see you later. Bye.